welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 144 here in the books. And look at us up here. We got a special guest. We thought it would never happen here on episode 144. We got the original. We got the one and only. We have Logan Stone today on the show, being joined by Casey Breyer, if we can figure out the mic situation, and Brian, the main man, Johnson. Logan, let's start there. How you doing? It's been a while, my friend.
Pretty good. That's a heck of an intro for about 5 minutes of fame there. The only thing I had going for me was not being on Fatboy FadeAway, and now you took that away from me because I wanted it, and I didn't need it anymore.
We got to deliver that today. You got to deliver that today. The fans have been wanting it for 3 years. They've been asking for Logan Stone. Can we get him on the show? Brian, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. I can see Casey got clean shaven for Logan Stone today.
I was going to get clean shaven for you guys, but then I forgot. So it grew back in like 5 seconds.
Casey, should we try out your mic? Hello? Well, he's in the wind tunnel again. He's in the wind tunnel though.
I can hear a little bit, and that's enough for me.
That's a little bit. Casey can be there for us, like comment.
Yeah, I'm doing good though. It's good to be actually out here having some technical difficulties.
Does it? It sounds like you're underwater again.
I think your fingers are over the microphone.
His fingers are over the microphone. Is that what the case? We got to get him some earbuds. I keep telling him he's got to get earbuds. Yeah. That will be the key. All right. Well, with that said, we were on the show today. We got to do before I get the thing started. We got to shout out. The better half, Hannah, my wife. Her birthday yesterday. Got to shout her out. We had a good time over at my parents' house over there. A lot of people came over. What'd she want me to say? She's the best mother in the whole entire world. She wrote a script out for me, right? So, Hannah, shout out to you. Happy birthday. It was a good day yesterday. Let's put it that way. We were there with Brian at my parents' house from like 2 to 9. So maybe even later, I think like 10:30. So it was a good time yesterday celebrating her birthday. So happy birthday there, Hannah. Casey, I might have to kick you off here in a second if you got the underwater thing, but we'll let it go. Today on the show, though, we were going to do a look back at the Rangers-Cardinals game, 2011. Game 6 World Series. Last week we did the rewatch of the All-Star game a little bit, the 2001. Had some fun discussions on that. And that's where we're going to start to take the show a little bit more, as doing a little bit more look backs, kind of even different sports too. It won't just be these. We got U.S. Open coming up, Brian. We maybe need to do a little we might have to do a little look back at Pete Sampras and Agassi. Who knows? We might have to do a little look back there. So today on the show, that is the plan. First of all, I got to get my shout-outs in too. I got to get our guys in over here at Variety Sports. I got to get my guy P-Shark Terrell at Realism Sports. He did a good pod this week. We had Mike McHenry on seventh inning stretch. It was good. He was a good interview. My guy Ant over in Memphis. Sounds like he's working his butt off over there. He always supports the podcast, so I got to shout him out as well. And the guys at 3 the Hard Away. And, of course, my guy DA and far end of the bench over there. So shout out to those guys. Logan, I got to start with you, though, as we look back at the 2011 World Series. This team, obviously, you're a Cardinals fan, so this one obviously meant a little bit more to you. From our aspect, one of our best friends is a Rangers fan growing up. So we kind of were like understood where he was coming from a little bit with it. Even though, right, Brian, he was a Patriots fan. So it was kind of like we were in a weird point there with him. We were like, he can only win so much. That
1-2 punch.
I think this is what he got for the Patriots winning so much.
Well, those Patriots wins, those are the key there with it. I guess what's your initial thoughts when you kind of just think of this game and looking back? When I told you, hey, we're going to look back at this game.
Yeah, I mean, the story of how we got to that point was, I mean, just as fantastical as the game. I won't even say the game itself, because the game before the ninth inning was just kind of like, it was not good. Like, just defensively, there was a lot of errors. There's just some bad plays. But then, like, in the ninth inning, so before that moment, I mean, they were 10 games behind at the beginning of August to the Atlanta Braves for the wild card spot. They somehow miraculously come back to beat the Braves out of the wild card spot. And then they go into the NLDS, where the Phillies are the best team in all of baseball, most likely. I think they were. And to take out that three-headed giant, which was Roy Halladay twice.
And Carpenter beat Halladay in Game 5, I believe, in that one too. So you talk about a clutch win.
A complete game shutout that ended Ryan Howard's career. That's how dominant he was. Sorry, Ryan Howard. But and so the NLCS, I mean, that was kind of a cakewalk in a way. I mean, it was really evenly matched with the Brewers. So, I mean, they were just always underdogs the whole time. And so, yeah, like whenever I think of Game 6, it's just whenever you think of the whole season, you're like, of course, it ended like this. I mean, Pujols was out for 6 weeks with a broken arm.
Yeah.
And he came back and still got 30 home runs and 99 RBIs, not 100. I was there. He was about to get 101 or 100 and 101, and he didn't. He like the Astros guy, I can't remember his name. He caught it at the wall. It was pretty awesome. Anyways.
That's good. Brian, what's your initial thoughts when I said this is the game we're going to look back at this week?
Just how, like he was saying, how amazing the ninth inning was. How it just seemed like the Rangers had it wrapped up, and they blew it pretty much.
And the other thing too, my initial thoughts when we were looking back at it was, all right, I know that there was 2 moments in it where they were down to the last out. So that was kind of what I was interested to get to. And I was kind of curious how we got to that 9-7 point again, because I had forgot about some of the little details and some of the changes in the game a little bit. Case, let's try you again real quick down in the deep sea. How are you doing? What did you think of your initial thoughts when we saw this game?
I hope you guys can hear me all right.
Not very well at all, but we'll have to try it again, man. With it, well, just we can't hear you very well.
Turn up your volume.
All right,
sounds like he's stuck on the Titan.
I know, man. He's like underwater. It's like Finding Little Nemo. So my initial thoughts with it, well, like I said, when I look back at the game with it, was I wanted to see one of the things that stood out to me right away, Logan, was the pitcher still hitting. So there was a couple times in the game where I think the bases were loaded in the 5th inning, top of the 5th. Rangers were up, I believe, 4-3 at the time, and the Cardinals intentionally walked the 8-hitter, which you don't get obviously anymore. And the Rangers had to make a decision where Colby Lewis stayed in the game to hit, or did they go to the bullpen? He left in Colby Lewis, automatic strikeout in 3 pitches. You're out of the thing. Not saying that was, maybe the next guy would have got out, but we don't get that part anymore in baseball as much. So I thought that part was interesting looking at the game as well back at it.
And Colby Lewis was really dominant too in his previous starts.
Yeah.
So like it was, I mean, he was your most reliable pitcher aside from CJ Lewis, or not CJ.
But see, if I was the Rangers in that situation, I would have been tempted. Today went to Holland in like the 7th inning. I would have gone, and he pitched okay. He gave up the homer to Craig after Holiday got hurt, which Holiday was not good at this game at all. I would have, looking back, if you had to do it over again, I would have pinched hit, and then I would have gone to Holland early, and then I would have gone to like Mike Adams more as well. That's what I would have done differently if I was Ron Washington. Obviously, in the fact a little bit. I also thought real quick, Kinsler right away. I just forgot how good Brian this guy was.
Ian Kinsler, yeah.
I mean, Brian, remember him as the leadoff hitter for the Rangers, and then Hamilton. You forget how the boogie whip with Hamilton, what a beast he was.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kinsler was like the best second baseman in the AL there for a while.
Oh, no doubt. He got a hit, and he was a tough out. So I really thought he was good. When I'm looking back at initial thoughts of it, what would you, Brian, what would you say, like we look at what aged the best? Like kind of rewatching the game, what were some things that stood out to you that you thought, like, okay, this was fun seeing again?
Just like you're saying, the pitcher's batting. I mean, it's just you don't know what you can get from them. Either it's going to be a strikeout, or sometimes it's like a random home run or a base hit. So.
What do you think, Logan? What aged the best for you in this game, looking back at it?
I mean, the ring still looks pretty good. But, I mean, what aged the best? I mean, oh, man, I think after this year, I mean, we did lose Albert Pujols, but I mean, Yachty stepped up to the plate, and for a good long time, I mean, we had a lot of people who just, I mean, it started a dynasty in a way. We only won one World Series, but I mean, the Cardinals dominated the NL for, I mean, 4 years after that. And they had the best record in 2000. I mean, not
Lost
the
the
best. They,
Giants a couple
yeah,
years later.
in
Yeah.
2012, they lost to the Giants, who, if Albert Pujols was part of that team, they would have won. They would have beaten the Giants and went on to win the World Series. In 2013, they had the best record. In 2014, they won the Central, and then in 2015, they had the best record again. And then in 2016 was when their run ended, and they lost the Cubs in the first round. But I mean, that's kind of my. Oh my gosh, Tyler.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler,
I just counted that as a vote for a game we'd have to rewatch, the Giants versus the Cardinals, because
It wasn't as exciting as
I
this
got
one.
tired of their glory.
Tired of their glory.
Giants. Listen,
Hey.
we were living under the Giants' shadow for those 2 years, so I don't want to hear it.
I got a couple good eights. The best one. It was they showed Nolan Ryan about 55 times in this game. I mean, they must have showed Nolan Ryan so many times cutting to him in this game, getting so close. It was so funny seeing like Nolan Ryan's reaction as much as they showed him in this game. The K zone, they didn't have the K zone in this, and the way they did the K zone was a lot different too. So that was, and they were calling the low strike and that the below the zone. Pujols got called out at one. It was literally the same exact pitch. Colby Lewis knows it was at the same spot. Umpire calls it a strike the next time. The K zone has it in there, but it was fun watching it without the box in there as well. I already mentioned Kinsler. They had a trivia question, which was very surreal in this game in like the second inning, and they do a trivia World Series trivia question in the second inning. I tell you, the trivia question was, how many Game 6 walk-offs have there been in the World Series? That was the trivia question in this game in the second inning. And then obviously there goes off to be a walk-off home run by David Freese in Game 6. So I thought that was very real. And they showed the old Joe Buck with the Minnesota doing that call. And then what do you know? The very last call of the whole night, Joe Buck, we'll see you tomorrow night. You know what I mean? So
we'll see you tomorrow night.
To me, Logan, to me as a Cardinals fan, right? If you're any nostalgic, to me, that had to be, even though the original Buck maybe was for Puckett and that wasn't no Cardinals relation, there had to be something there, kind of.
Well, Jack Buck was the voice of the Cardinals for years, so I mean, yeah, having Joe Buck do the announcing was also pretty. It was pretty meaningful because I like him and Tim McCarver, two Cardinals fans. Tim McCarver was.
That was always the annoying part for a lot of people.
Yeah,
was that they're both Cardinals people.
Yeah, but I never, like, as a Cardinal fan, I never felt like he had a bias towards us. But it was special, like, whenever he did that. I always thought he was against us. I was like, come on, dude, like, show us a little.
So you thought they were against you guys sometimes, Logan?
Oh yeah,
because most Giants fans would think that opposite out here.
I noticed that, and real quick, you pointed out something. So Derek Holland coming in early on that game, I thought that was what lost the game for them because he had pitched in Game 4. He started Game 4, and then he was supposed to start in Game 7, and he was dominant in Game 4. Yeah. And they didn't want him to pitch in Game 6 unless they just absolutely had to. And
Game 7.
Well, they didn't want him to pitch in Game 6 because they wanted to hold him for Game 7, but then they brought him in because they thought maybe they could lock it up, and it just didn't work because he was on short rest. Second thing was Nolan Ryan. If you look back at his 2004, when he was a part of the Astros organization, they showed the same clip. Basically, it's one clip of him with the Astros and one clip with him with the Rangers, and he makes the same face, which is, and it's the
he got excited this one, Nolan. He did. Oh, like he did a couple little kid claps. I thought of this one, that him and his wife, a couple high fives there, Brian, a couple
It
photos
it,
there.
it just made me laugh because he's just always had to deal with the Cardinals, and it just makes
He
me laugh.
has. No, you're
But
right.
yeah.
That's definitely what. Casey, are you there again? Should we try? Are you back from the deep blue?
Am I?
Still, I would stay. What would you still say? Still in the deep blue sea. I would still say.
Yeah.
Still in the deep blue sea, my friend. I'm
Do you have
sorry.
a cover on your iPad?
iPhone, he's got a cover on there.
Oh, yeah. It may be blocking your microphone too. Sorry.
But me and my brother, like your tradition of not coming on, we should do a tradition, Brian, with him. How many weeks with malfunction internet access? That should be our tradition, like that other. It'd be like how many safe drops there?
So far, it's 4 or 5 weeks in, and it's a malfunction every time.
That is definitely. I totally forgot. What was it? Jason Mott? What was it? Mott? How do you? He was on your
Jason
guys'.
Mott.
He gives up the ball to Hamilton in the 10th inning. The interesting part is, where do we put this Rangers team? I feel like in the history a little bit. Not in sense of like, I know they didn't win a World Series, so they're not one of the best teams. But you look at their lineup. I mean, that's as good a lineup as you could have in probably the last since 2000. I mean, that's no joke of a lineup. Good morning, Vandy, Chris out there. How you doing? We're doing a little 2011 rewatch. We got Logan Stone with us, Brian Johnson, my brother from the Deep Blue Sea, once in a while. But we appreciate you tuning in this morning here. We're talking 2011 Rangers at Cardinals Game 6. Doing a little rewatch, looking at that part with it. I mean, you look at that lineup, Kinsler. I'm not the biggest Andrews guy, but he was in there at the time, right, with it. Hamilton, Cruz, Beltre, Michael Young. I mean, that's as good as he got back then.
Michael Young, another great.
That's
Yeah.
Those guys were all pains. Logan's going at it and stuff, Brian. Right.
Yeah.
There?
Was there something going on with my mic or something?
Yeah. You got like a little sound going on with it. I'm trying to mute you. Go ahead, Logan. What were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, like Daniel Murphy was also really good in that, and then that pitching, I think, like that bullpen was just some of the best ever. I mean, you had Neftani, Feliz, Oliver. Oh my gosh, there's a couple has entered the transfer portal. Yes. Listen, I've been on the receiving end of this a number of times, so everyone no. But yeah, I may need to switch over to my phone, but yeah, so like that whole team, I think the bullpen was probably its strongest suit, and that's saying something because I mean, like you said, that lineup was just astounding.
Do you remember their bullpen? Do you remember some of the pitchers? I mean, this is who they threw out there in this game. They had Octavio Dutel in there. They threw Lance Lynn in there for a little bit.
Yeah,
you guys. So you guys threw like almost. You threw Fernando Salas in there after you started Jaime Garcia, who, he got out of a huge jam in the first inning where you had runners on first and third and no outs, and he only gave up one run. That was a big part of the game as well. I don't know. Like I was thinking about that with the Rangers and the Cardinals. Where do we put these teams in the place of history? Like the Rangers, I kind of feel like they were, I don't know, like their team felt better watching it, like that game. It just felt like they were the better team. They just didn't pull out the World Series. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but that's kind of what I thought when I watched it. What did you think, Brian, with that part?
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers were, I think a couple of years they went to the World Series, but they didn't win it. I think they played the Giants one year, right?
The year before.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
So where do you put them in the place of history then? Are they like, where do they go with these bad teams?
I mean,
lost, I should say, the World Series.
I mean, you probably have to say they're up there with one of the best teams just because of their lineup, Yeah,
no doubt. Hey, Brian, try to jump back in. Your phone sounds like you're underwater now too. Okay. Logan, what did you? The other thing I wanted to also say there, I thought if I could go to just Ron Washington for a little bit and coaching decisions in this game, there were some moves in there that I would question quite a bit looking back. Like, so the first one to me that didn't make any sense was, let's go to the end of the game. So Feliz does blow the game, but Cruz with just an all-time Olay going after a ball in right field. Like it just felt he looked like he had it for a second, right? Like he has that little jog, like he's got it. And if you're a Cardinals fan, for that second, you must have been like, it's over. Like just for that second, you must have thought it was over when you saw him slow down for a second.
So the day before was my 14th birthday.
All right.
I don't want to make you feel old. So
that's all right.
Up until that point, I had been like believing in the Cardinals that whole year. I was like, you know what? I still believe in this team. This team is going to do well. And like everyone was like, all my Cardinals friends were like, oh, no, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. That night, I was getting texted nonstop. I'm telling you, by all the Rangers fans I knew. And they were like, oh, the fat lady singing. I was like, I don't think it's over yet. And and it was stupid that he left Nelson Cruz in there because he wasn't that good of a right fielder. But that was Ron Washington's biggest flaw was he was like, hey, this needs to be ceremonial. Like these guys deserve to be out there. The next day, I don't know if you remember this, Lance Berkman was taken out of right field and replaced by
Discofani.
Was it Discofani? And Descalso.
That's what I'm thinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got the D's, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, and so like once they got that hit, I was like, oh no, this is it. And then I was like, wait a second, that he looks like he's panicking right there. And then all of a sudden he drops it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and all the text messages stopped. But Ron Washington, he did a lot of things. He was like, it's the right thing to do, not what was actually the right thing to do.
And it's hard for me to completely blame him in a game like this because you're up 2 twice going into the final inning, and your team is twice, not once, twice, 1 out away from winning, not 1 out, 1 strike away from winning the World Series. So you talk about like just that close to it, right? If Cruz makes that catch, maybe we're not looking at Washington the same way, but I still believe that I feel like the other one I already told you is I feel like that Colby Lewis decision, not putting in Derek Holland a little bit earlier in that game, is something I thought that he could have done a little bit early as well, looking back at it. And he only got 1 pitch out of Mike Adams. That was the other one. He got out of a jam. He got out of that bases loaded jam. He rolled it back to the Rafael Furcal, rolled it back on the first pitch right to Adams. He gets out of the jam there. But that was, to me, those were just the questionable moves. And then, like I said, the other one that just doesn't make sense to me is Feliz. You had him in there in the 9th inning. He gives up the 2 runs, but then you're up a 2 again off Hamilton hitting that home run. Why not leave him in? You go to Darren Oliver, who's a respectable pitcher that year, but I don't know. Like I don't know. That one never made sense to me. And one of our Rangers fan friends said that one made no sense to him. He used a different word to describe Ron Washington. I'll leave that one out, but with what he got in trouble doing. So, but you get my point. That I just think that was a big part of me, Ron Washington, rewatching that game with it.
Oh yeah. And like, I mean, you could say, hindsight is 20/20, but I mean, that team, the Cardinals lineup was at the beginning, like it was the start of the lineup. It was for Call, John Jay, not yet. I don't remember who the 2 guy was, but Albert Pujols, Lance Berkman.
And then batted in that game 5th.
Was he 5th?
I think he was 5th. Yeah, no, 4th. And then Holiday was 5th. And then Freeze batted 6th in the game.
Yeah. Okay. And then after Freeze was Yadier Molina, because that was the thing. That was another thing. This started my.
He wasn't good in this game hitting.
My hatred for okay. So Freeze gets the triple.
Yeah.
Yachty, I think on the next pitch, swings at the first pitch and grounds right out. And I'm like, come on,
you
guys.
just tied it up. How could you complain?
As a Cardinal fan, I'm like, come on, dude, you can't swing at the first pitch in that moment.
I'll give you that. That's what he did, though, right? He was a first pitch slinger. That was
he always swung at the first pitch, and it always, like 99% of the time it failed, and then that 1% he was like, okay, I'm gonna do it forever.
Some things that aged the worst. Defense in this game, pathetic. Johnson, 5 errors. They said the Cardinals had 3, the first team to win a game since 1943, I guess, with 3 errors in a World Series game. You talk about bad. Freeze was not good in this game. Before those 2 moments, He was not good. He dropped a
Terrible.
routine fly ball at third base that cost him a run. He had multiple times up to bat where he had guys in scoring position and did not come through. All that said for naught, obviously, because of what he did in his last 2 at bats. That's all that is going to be remembered. But he was not good. And Matt Holliday was awful in this game. I mean, he looked like he was like almost done. Like he gets hurt sliding back to third base. But then Alan Craig, who replaces him, hits that home run off Holland to make it 7-5 when it was 7-4. So it actually turned out to be almost a good thing for the Cardinals in a way because they end up getting a home run out of him. And, and Holliday drops a ball in that game as well. Him and Furcal have an issue coming together on that game as well. So a really sloppy defense there the whole time.
It kind of reminded me of the 2003 when we played the Red Sox in Boston.
Yeah,
that was a bad defensive game too.
Chris brings up, Brian, what would you have? What's worse, first pitch swinging or striking out looking?
I'd say striking out looking.
Can't have that, right? You can't have the backwards K. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. I think I fixed Casey's problem. Yeah, I can't do this on my phone, so I think he needs to do it on a laptop or something.
Maybe. I think Casey's good. We got to talk to him afterwards. Yeah, again, technology and my brother are not. That's asking a lot there with it. Remember getting on Twitter with login, the information was like Mount Everest. So we don't want to make that. We don't want to make too far of a stretch.
That's probably why he can't do fantasy football with us.
I got a couple more things here. Again, this has been really awesome. Looking back at this game, digging deep into it. From the Cardinals side, a little bit too. Like we said, Freeze was awful. Holliday was hurt. Alan Craig comes through with the big home run. Tony La Russa's reactions were not the, you know what I mean? My God, like he just has a lot of that going on with it. I was a little disappointed in the crowd. Maybe they were a little nervous. I thought they were, a little bit, but I was a little disappointed in the crowd. I thought there'd be a little bit more fever, but I think they were more on edge being down in the game. Obviously, you're a 1 strike away, so there's probably more tension there than you're going to be, super excited about it in that regard.
Cardinal fans are not going to be electric.
That's not their thing.
That's
not their thing.
No.
Sometimes when you have the managers mic'd up, it can be kind of funny.
That's where they didn't do any manager interviews in this. I noticed there was no manager interviews, and they didn't show it on the one I had on YouTube.
They would not do that with Tony La Russa. That would be a horrible idea.
Would that be like Popovich for NBA, basically?
Yeah, it would be. It would be horrible. Like, I mean, Tony La Russa would get mad at the interviewer for asking a question. He would not have the time in the world for them, and I think Washington would honestly be in the same boat.
He probably would. Got a couple more.
I thought the funniest mic'd up was Art Howe when we were playing the Tigers, and it was zip zip, and he was yelling at the right fielder, "Get over."
He was all like super like, "Come on, man, move it." Let's see what we had here. All at that Bush beer and they can't be lively. Oh, that shame. Yes, it's very tough over there.
They can't be bothered to be like, they're not going to rock your world like other places are. They're like, oh, we need to have decorum.
Just a couple more things I got on the game here with it. Like I said, an all-time game in the sense of a lot of people think it's the best game. Rewatching it, I wouldn't say it's the best game I've ever seen. It's, I'd just say it's kind of maybe got one of the better endings, like the last 2 innings, maybe I would say. But I would rather give me like a Smoltz, game in 90 where he's losing. Give me one of those games instead. But that doesn't take away from it. There was plenty of action. It just was a weird, and then obviously in game 7, the Rangers, I keep thinking about the almost heroes. Almost. So close. They had a couple guys that just would have been like, Hamilton would have been just ingrained in World Series history if that home run lives up. After he's coming to bat, shoulder hurting him, not looking good, hadn't hit a home run in like 83 at bats or something like that.
And then Gibson.
Then he just goes out. I don't know. And then it fell off the map for the Rangers. They lose to the A's like the last week of the season, the following year, and just kind of had a return. And he's a sad story too, in some ways. You know what I mean? Like a good story, but like just one of those what if guys to me.
Who?
Josh Hamilton.
Oh, Josh Hamilton. Yeah, I never liked him. So,
but he's a what if guy. He's a what if guy in
is.
terms of what if he's healthy. You know what I mean? Like there's, this is not a good ending. Shut up. Not a good Andy. Nobody likes that here in the Bay Area. Nobody likes that. That Kirk Gibson.
That's the reason.
Oh yeah, that was.
That's the reason I hate the Dodgers.
Oh god,
I
nobody
forgot
likes
that was against Eckersley.
I like the McGuire walk-off in that series. It's about the only thing I like in that one. He goes deep in that one, so that's the only thing I can like in it. Okay, so what's the scene you're watching the most? You rewatch one moment from this game. Which one are you picking?
I mean, it definitely is the triple.
Okay, the triple's the one sliding into third.
Yeah, yeah, and his voice cracks and he goes 7-7. I love that.
That's great. It's funny how you have it like so ingrained in your memory at 14, but and you probably were like you said you remember the whole season too. So you gotta remember like the grind it took to get to this point more so than just the game.
Oh yeah, I mean I remember like John Jay, he had a little blooper.
He sucked in the World Series.
Well, yeah, but he's the. I mean he got in one run in that later in that game. That was just a little blooper to center, like not even a blooper. It was just a little. It just went right over Andrus's head. I think
that was. That was.
Yeah.
The Cardinals. Do you know how many wins they ended up having in the regular season that year? If you had to get, they actually had a pretty good regular season. I mean, they ended up with 90 wins, which
was it not?
Yeah,
I was going to say 88, but yeah.
They lost by 6 to the Brewers that year in the division. The Rangers ended up winning 96 as well. So those were the ones. We ended up, our ALCS matchup was Rangers. They beat the Tigers 4-2. You guys beat the Brewers 4-2 in that one. In the division series that year, you had the Tigers over the Yankees, the Rangers over the Rays, Cardinals over the Phillies, and then you had the Brewers over the Diamondbacks. So those were the playoff matchups that year in 2011 to get there. I thought another funny nugget from this game was it said Tony La Russa, that was his 6th World Series, and that was his first time making it to Game 6. He had never gone that far in a World Series before. So he had always either been eliminated, Brian, or taken out real early in that. So, Brian, if you're picking one scene, which one are you picking from this game?
Definitely the Freeze walk-off home run. I mean, it was so iconic. It was so iconic. It was like reminded me of the Twins-Braves series when we'll see you tomorrow night.
Seemed like every Cardinal fan was thinking just knew that he was about to walk it off. So it I don't know why it just doesn't. I guess it just doesn't hold up for me. I don't know why.
I think you guys. I think you guys covered the 2 best scenes in that one. Obviously, I think from a Rangers standpoint, you're going Hamilton. I'm going to go a hidden gem in this game. The hidden gem scene is in the 9th inning, and Pujols is the final out away. You know what I mean? And he gets the base hit to left center. Like you just know a top 10 player, but whatever you want to say, however you want to put him, top 20, whatever, debatable, top 10 hitter at least. He's going to get a hit. He's not going to go out making the final out of the World Series. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't even remember it. I was just like, he's not going to get, there's just no way he would ever get out of this situation. First pitch laces at the left center. The inning continues.
Could have been his last at bat as a Cardinal, too.
Yeah. Game 7, obviously.
Well, yeah. But at that moment, it was like either his last at bat.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. No, that's a good point there at that. That probably even meant more. Then Berkman was just damn clutch in this game as well.
Berkman that year, everyone thought he was going to be washed up. I thought he was going to be washed up, and
he was good.
He was that entire season. He was just great. But
all right, so I think that's a good little rewatch there. That game, that was fun. We kind of covered all aspects of it. We kind of looked to the future of it. The Rangers went down after that, and Cardinals haven't won a World Series since. So that one obviously probably means a lot to Cardinals Nation out there, the quiet fan base now out there. Josh, we're talking to you out there. So it was fun doing a little look back at that game. Adam, if you're out there from a Rangers standpoint, sorry for probably bringing up some tough memories. But again, Feliz, that's the one. Why is he not pitching the 10th inning? My God, why are you bringing in Darren Oliver? So that's my part. All right, let's keep it going here. Question of the week brought to you by Row One Brand. I kind of surprised you guys this one, but I kind of just want to see where your brain maybe would go with it. Who is the best pitching big 3 that you can think of since Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz? Is there one that kind of comes to your mind there?
Mine for me is the 2004 Astros, 2005 also.
Clemens.
I actually just watched a video about it, and I just forgot how dominant that team was. I mean, at first they had their Ace Roy Oswalt, and then they went out and they got oh my gosh,
Pettit,
Pettit, and then they went and got
Clemens.
and who
They
had
were
come out of
stacked.
retirement just for that.
Yeah, they were stacked.
And I mean, on top of that lineup, you just couldn't beat that team. But the Cardinals did multiple times for some reason, so it's whatever.
Brad Ledge moment. They never could. In 2005 is when they ended up losing to that.
They won that series, and that's all they ever talk about. Every time they see me, they see like I'm wearing a Cardinal shirt. They're like, "Oh, I'm an Astros fan," and all I can think about in my life is Brad Lidge and Albert Pujols. I'm like, "You guys won that series, dude. Get over it."
In 2004, they had Oswalt, Clemens, Pettit, Wade Miller, and Tim Redding were their main guys. And in 2005, that looks like that was their best season together. They had Oswalt 120, Pettit 117, Clemens 113 that year. And that's a good call. Somebody brought that up. Doug from Variety Sports Network. Brian, I had to throw out Hudson Mulder Zito. He thought
that's what I was gonna say.
He said I was a homer for that, and that was a terrible pick. Basically,
was that 2002?
I think the last year Zito was on our team was 2003, right?
2006. Zito lasted a while. He was on, but Hudson was gone by 2004. But they had a run together from 01 to 04. That was pretty good. Doug, I watched a lot of games over there. Those three was pretty good. I know they didn't win a World Series, but it is. Some people brought up, I think Holiday, Cliff Lee, right? That was a pretty good combination there. I forget the other guys. Yeah, and Hamels. Thank you. So that's a good combination as well. Yeah, Oswalt too. So I thought that was a fun little question looking back at who are some of the best big threes, because I was like, you're never going to have a consistent 10-decade run like you are with these guys. It's just never going to happen where you're going to have like three pitchers like Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz be together for that long. So looking back at it, they're mostly just short little stints. You know, Lincecum, Kane, Bumgarner, I was looking at, they had like some short runs together, but Lincecum was kind of done by the time Bumgarner started to get good. So it's he wasn't pitching as well. So those are a few that jumped out to me. We've had a few recently.
Verlander, Scherzer, Porcello.
Yeah, like that was a pretty good one. That was a very good one as well. The Nationals had one for 1 year, but they're not like lifetime. You're not going to think of Patrick Corbin as like, yay.
I don't know. Now all of a sudden he's good. So
yeah, I guess so. All right, so that was our question of the week. We're here. We're getting closer to the end here. Hey, MLB franchises that we take here for the next. We'll take three each here. I'll give you the first pick, Logan. You're the guest. You can pick any MLB franchise next 5 years. So basically, who do you think is going to have the most wins in the next 5 years? You're looking at the franchises and just who are you taking?
I'm taking the Rangers.
Wow, is that surprising, Johnson? My goodness.
I mean, they do have young talent, so you could realistically say that.
And Josh Jung's pretty damn good. He's rookie over there.
When I saw them play, I don't know if you ever heard this story, but I won't. I went to the Cardinals Rangers game a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I was sitting right in front of John Mozeliak, the GM of the Cardinals. And at the beginning of the game, I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be mean. But I looked at him. I was like, we getting Ohtani? And he was like, he kind of did this. And I was like, okay. And so, and then
you watch Birds and Bush.
Yeah. And then the Cardinals blew the game and lost in a walk-up off. And I looked into John Mozeliak's eyes and like, I swear it's like we got it sucked into like this realm together where it was just us. And we were just like crying on each other's shoulders. That's like, I didn't want to say anything. I just shook my head. I was just like, come on, dude.
That's great. Yeah. Come on, man. He made eye contact with you. He felt your pain. He's like, Ohtani, we lost him tonight.
But yeah,
we lost him tonight.
But that's Josh Jung is really great. He was awesome in that game. So that was.
Yeah. So you got Rangers. That's a good pick. I'm a little surprised though. Brian, who would you take?
This is a team that I'd love to be good for the next 5 years, but They're a team that when they're good, you like to see them in the playoffs. Is the Baltimore Orioles.
That's a good call. They got
Yeah.
as good a young talent as anybody. They were high on my draft order list. That's a great call. They got a lot of guys coming too. Like we said, got the manager out of Montgomery High School. Do you know that, Brian?
Yeah, I did know that. And then they had that guy that was in the home run derby.
Yep, the switch hitter. Our Ryan, our guy Ryan called that. Yeah, that guy's a stud. That guy's like he's gonna be a beast. He's kind of has that Posey effect. I feel like for the Orioles for sure. All right, I'm taking the Braves. You guys gave me my first pick. That's the team I'm taking. It's gonna have the most wins over the 5 years. They have the most now. They're gonna continue to dominate. They're gonna trade for players. The A's will continue to trade them all their players. So that will happen. They'll get all our good players, Brian. So they'll develop like crazy. So that's the team I'm taking, number one. So thank you guys for the first pick available. Who are you taking, Logan, with your second pick there?
Well, I'm surprised they lasted this long, and it's kind of an easy choice, but the Reds. I think they're going to be a problem. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz he's totally a lightning rod for that team. They're going to lose Votto in the next season, either to free agency or retirement. But, I mean, they got a lot of exciting players. They got India. They got that McLean guy. They got, I mean, they just need pitching, honestly. And
they got who's the guy they have coming up that's nasty? Aircraft or something. But he's I can't pronounce his last name well, and then they got Hunter Green. Obviously, he throws lightning bolts. So that you're right. That's a good call. They were high up. I have them number 5 on my list. We got Vandy Chris here real quick. He had the Dodgers, Buehler, Kershaw, Alex Wood. It's hard to throw Alex Wood in there. That's the one for me. It was a good year. I'm not gonna say there's guys that have good years. Like when you said Rick Porcello, I was like, okay, it was a hell of a year, but it's you know what I mean. Like I know he has. Does he have a Cy Young too?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's good, but I don't think you know what I mean. He's just that guy. I don't think of. But you're right. That was a dominant year.
I would have said the 13 Dodgers, like Kershaw, Greinke. Who was that third guy? It was Beckett. Yeah, Beckett.
Fernando
Beckett.
That's good.
Yeah, Valenzuela. He came back. I'll do it, and then he threw like some nasty crap.
That's funny. He's got him saying we talked about him. Oh, sorry, you were kind of cutting out there for a second. He said Jack Leiter. He got. I thought this guy was going to be a stud from Vanderbilt. Obviously, Vandy Chris knows him probably well over there. I thought he was going to be a beast, Jack Leiter. Let's hopefully he does figure. Maybe he'll go to the A's.
Is he related to Al Leiter?
I think that's his son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I remember Al Leiter from the Toronto Blue Jays.
And Mark Leiter, was that his brother? Was there a Mark Leiter out there? I feel like there was. Paul Skeens, I talked about this with that guy that was on our show. I mean, I don't know. The guy, now Vandy Chris, I would push back with, isn't Paul Skeens like, I mean, the guy looks absolutely nasty. I mean, he throws 102 at the slider off out of your mind. I mean, I know that Dylan Cruz is a damn good ball player, but I thought he was a pretty good player with it. We'll see what the Pirates do. They needed pitching. So, I thought the guy from LSU was pretty good. Yeah.
Just wanted to say Jack Leiter was not designated. He has been put on the development list.
Yeah, okay.
To work on mechanical adjustments.
So is that good in the minor league system to be put on the development list? Isn't that what you're in the minor leagues for?
I guess I don't know, but
is that a step down, Logan? Is that
I was going to say if they were going to release him, I would take him in a heartbeat. I wanted him, so.
We put him in our adult softball league to see if we could figure some things out. See, we put him in there and see if we can get some things turned around.
He's playing with Feliz right now.
Exactly. Ryan, who do you got?
Well, I got my number 2 still, the Tampa Bay Rays.
All right. That depends on them signing guys, though.
Yeah. I mean, they're a lower income ball club, so I guess that's the thing with the Rays.
Oh, good. Whenever I had this guy that I used to work for, every time I'd say cheap, he'd just be like, you're like, no, not cheap. Don't use that word. Don't use the word cheap. Right. He's just trying to save. I was like, all right, yeah. The Rays are an interesting one. Their talent's loaded. You're right. That's a good choice there. I had them in my top 5 as well. This one is where I started to get a little tricky for me on where I wanted to go for the next 5 years with it. Like I had the Cubs on there. I'm actually going to go with, believe it or not, I still got to stay with the Dodgers. They just have too many guys that are in their pipeline that are supposed to be top players. They're still going to sign players. So that's the team I'm still taking for the next 5 years. to still be relevant. So I think I have the Braves and the Dodgers. To me, I would bank that they would probably have some of the best records for the next 5 years. Logan, your last pick, who would you take?
Oh man.
The Guardians?
The Diamondbacks.
Oh, finally. I thought you would take them.
I
love your
can't believe it. Those guys, I think Corbin Carroll, I mean, they just signed him to a long-term deal. I think they're gonna try to go after it. And listen, right now, I don't know if they're still in first place, but right now they're beating the Dodgers and the Padres, who, like, granted, they're not like at full capacity right now, but are firing on all cylinders. But right now they're doing a team that was, I think, marketed to do 70 wins, and they're projected to win like 93, I think, right now. So, I mean, at a team that you're not even like, this was a wash year. This wasn't supposed to be like a go all in year. They've turned it into one of those like go on all in years. Like, they're going to be active at the trade deadline. And I think that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, for teams like of brighter things to come, better things to come, I should say. And so, yeah, the Diamondbacks and
That's
Zach Gallen, they got all these guys.
Mr. Edwards, who I do the show, loves his Diamondbacks, so he gets on there. You always get him. We got Vandy Chris here commenting on the Orioles, who you mentioned, Brian. You took with them. That was your first pick, the Orioles. All right, Brian, your last pick for the next 5 years. Which team are you taking?
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies.
The New York Yankees. Whoa, no, I'm just kidding. The
Philadelphia Phillies. I really think they're going to make a run in the second half.
Like last year, basically?
Yeah, like last year. I don't know, Bryce. I think Bryce Harper's a stud, and I think they got a good young team around him.
Ryan, tuning in. He joined us on the Home Run Derby. What's up, Brian? You got a nice little draft there then of teams there. I like your picks there. Would you have the Rays, the Orioles there? Ryan, he's a Cubs fan. Nobody's taking the Cubs as for the next 5 years. No. Nobody's taking them to be in there. They got the guy we did the interview with, Mike McHenry. He thought that the Cubs and the Red would battle it out this year for the NL Central to finish it out, which I thought was interesting. I'm still staying claim, with the Brewers. That's the team I'm going with. But he picked the Cubs to make a run. I don't necessarily think they're going to make a run. We got here the Yankees. Future Spencer Jones is having a great season in the minors. The Yankees, how do we take the Yankees? We don't take the Yankees. How about the Blue Jays, Logan? I had the last pick. That's the hard one for me, is the Blue Jays. I was
thinking about them.
The Blue Jays, I don't know.
The pitching's tough, though.
Yeah.
The Mets? You take the Mets for 5 years? They get it. They figure it out? No, I just kidding.
They got it.
The Giants?
Are they finally going to pay off Bobby Bonilla's contract in 5 years?
Listen, the Bobby Bonilla contract is the best thing to happen to baseball.
Yeah, it is. Ryan, I'll take the Cubs PCA.
I will say, I got a trade prediction. Marcus Stroman to the Diamondbacks.
You don't think the Cubs are going to sign him?
No, I think they're going to trade him away, maybe try to re-sign him, but they're getting rid of all those guys. They're not trying to win. They know even if they get to the playoffs, they're not going to do anything. So why even bother? So
is the Cubs minor league system? Do you know anything about it? If it's even like
they're top 10.
Oh, John tuning in here. John tuning in. What's up? Out of your Falcon Bite. I gotta say, John, we got 5 people in the chat here. Appreciate you guys tuning in with it. But I took your Braves. We did tech. We're doing top 5 next top 5 year draft. I did take your Braves in there. Oh, Ryan, shots fired. Shut up, Logan.
What did I say? Oh, listen, I'm saying this as part of a. You don't think so? Oh my God. Oh, okay.
Anyway, he doesn't want to trade Stroman.
Listen, this is for the better for you guys. Like, I think it's the same thing.
So maybe
that
would be good.
I think
maybe I should
get rid of everyone. Yeah, the Cubs need to lose. The Cubs and the Cardinals need to lose out. The Yankees need to lose out. They need to get rid of Josh Donaldson. For some reason, they got Josh Donaldson. We had a 60-year contract. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What about the Pirates?
I mean, one of the best uniforms in the league. I like it out there, no doubt about it. I kind of like them. I'll be interested when O'Neal Cruz comes back.
They've always had a problem with developing pitching, it seemed like.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like, yeah, they had Garrett Cole, but I've never.
Hey, question: Who's their trivia for you? Who's their last Cy Young winner?
The
Pittsburgh
Pirates.
Pirates.
Yeah. You think of that?
Man.
Brian? Come on, Brian. He's an old school guy. 90s. Come on, you got
90s.
Is it Kerry Wood?
God,
Did you say Kerry Wood
Yeah.
for the Pirates? No, I
he
didn't.
was,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Cubs for some reason.
God, I know he pitched during the NLCS against the Braves. Was it that guy?
No, it was Doug Drabeck. Big old
Yeah,
Doug
that's
Drabeck.
what I was thinking. Doug
Yeah,
Drake.
Doug Drabeck was the guy who pulled it out over there. I remember him throwing out a couple of one hitters too. They were against the Braves. They had a couple.
By the way, the
And-
Cubs
and
have the
their-
12th
Their
best farm system
their
right now.
shortstop is dating an actress named Vanessa Hudgens.
Brian,
Oh, yeah.
in case you
TMZ
didn't know that.
knowledge is just insane.
Who is that? Cole. Oh my gosh. What's his name? I think he's with the Rockies now.
Oh, he is. They moved
Yeah,
him to the
and I think
Rockies.
he and Vanessa Hudgens got married because
Oh,
he's a friend of
the
John
Rocky
Boy
Mountains?
Media. Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to get high together, and if you ever see what he looks like, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, he definitely gets high."
I am a Braves fan, by the way. The Atlanta A's, as I call them, that's the team that laid out Sean Murphy and Matt Olson. Unbelievable, Brian.
Cole Tucker. Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, you said the Cubs are 12th minor league system.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's not terrible on there with it. So next 5 years, I had to follow. We talked about through the teams there. I think if push came to shove, the team I would probably take for the next 5 years. It's kind of tough. I just believe I would take Toronto still because if you give me Guerrero, you give me Bichette. I think those are like the two building blocks I'm going to take with. And Toronto does have a tendency to go. So you give me a win record for the next 5 years. I think I'm going to take Toronto to finally make a run. The Red Sox and Yankees seem like they're kind of coming back a little bit. We'll see. That I would just go with them a little bit. Pittsburgh's a good call, but I can never trust Pittsburgh to ever make it.
it's so weird though for the Blue Jays because I can never figure out what their problem is. Like it seems like they're just the streakiest. Like Bo Bichette, it takes them like 2 months to get like hot, and then Guerrero, he typically takes a little bit to get hot, and it's just like by the time they get hot, the pitching kind of falls.
You kind of cut out
honestly what the issue is, but I mean because they have a great team.
That's what it is they go back and forth. I think that's what the issue. Like you're right, they can't put the two sides together. To me, it's always been the pitching that is killing. Like who's the guy this year that just got lit up in rookie ball? You know what I mean? Like he couldn't even make it right.
Alec Manoah.
Exactly. They couldn't do it as well. Vandy Chris giving us the draft knowledge today. He does a great show over there. He does a lot of SEC talk, Brian, college baseball, so they do good stuff over there. We had that guy, Mike McKendry. You should have listened to that, but he talked about Middle Tennessee State. It's in your area over there. Rockies draft. I don't think Colorado is a good spot for Chase Dolander. Brian, you know Mr. Dolander, right? He is giving up a lot of home runs this year at Tennessee. The ball flies out of there. I'm sure anywhere in the SEC, the ball flies out of there. I'm sure the ball flies. Their stadium, the college baseball stadiums, I got to say, though, Logan, are sick that some of these schools build. They are sick. Like Vanderbilt has one, Brian, that's coming where I'm like, that is even better than this. Give me the A stadium. Give me that one. Give me that. I don't even do it. Just give me that one. The Reds, we talked about them. Cruz is obviously a freak of nature. So there's some good young teams coming. Be interesting. The White Sox, I kept picking them. Now I could not pick them. The A's, Brian, the A's.
Ryan, by the way, I've already been crying for the last 4 years, so I don't want to hear it from you. So yeah.
Ryan, the Cubs fan over there, making sure that
and I'm kind of a Cubs fan too. Don't tell Josh though, but still.
So your Rangers, Cubs, and okay. So
I like them all. So
I think the A's need to just lose out and get the number 1 pick and get the best player.
The Royals aren't making it easy. The Royals are trying to suck it up.
Well, there's a lottery now, so it doesn't even matter if you have the worst record.
I know it doesn't good.
They could lose out to in the draft too.
That's true too. They could lose Logan Touche. They lose out in the draft as well. That's good. No, so those are some good. So I ended up with the Braves on my top 5. I ended up with who else did I have there? I had the Braves. Dodgers. I ended up with
the Dodgers.
And then I ended up taking the Blue Jays. So those are my 3 for the decks. I feel pretty good about that. Brian, you had the Rays, the Orioles, and who was your third team there?
I had the Phillies.
The Phillies. Okay, that's pretty good as well.
And I guess the big question is, are the Padres finally going to put something together here? Like, I mean, you got all this talent, and like, I don't know. This
Bob
team's a
Melvin.
mystery to me.
And Tatis
Sounded
got
like
hurt
they were
last
trying to trade Soto and Hader away, which is interesting. So
God, wow.
Okay, the Padres, that's a weird one. Why would you? You're not going to, I mean, I don't think they're going to get enough back for him. Tatis does go down, though, again last night. I will say this about Vandy Chris real quick, the number one pick. Baseball, you never, like, it changes, right? Like, because the other team will be like, I can't sign this guy. So whatever. Like, what? How's this not the number one pick? Remember the favorite example? Wasn't it like JD Drew or something like that, Brian? Like, he didn't even want to go drafted, right? Like, his agent. Was this Scott Boris's agent? What's his agent? I feel like it was back then.
Yeah, I think he had to be a Scott Boras
And
guy.
he didn't want to go to the Phillies, right? That's what it was. He didn't want to go to the Phillies, I feel. Did you already look back with Freeze? I hope you did. Ryan, please listen to the first half an hour. Go back and listen to it. We did talk about it. It was a lot of fun. I hope that you could get a chance to listen back to it. I'd love to get your comments on what we talked about with it. It was a lot of fun looking back to it. Freeze was amazing. But like we said, he was garbage in the beginning of that game as well. If you look back at it, he had an error in that game. Did not come up clutch the first 3 at-bats. But it's what you did for me lately in baseball, and he was very good at that game as well. So I appreciate you tuning in here. Hopefully you'll get a chance to listen back to it as well. No, I'm a Cubs fan. I would want to go back to that. All right, so let's keep it going. Those are the times with it. Real quick
JD
here,
Drew
I got a few
was
last.
the Boris agent.
Yeah, exactly. Brian, you said the last thing about the Padres too.
I feel like they're the NL version of the Angels. Like the Angels can't do it either over here, you know.
The Angels, they just never focused on pitching and just wasted Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
They signed Tyler Anderson.
And then they signed Anthony Rendon, who was like had no interest in playing, and so it's just like whatever.
And then that guy tried to kill an A's fan.
Yeah,
A's fan deserved it on that one.
He did. I'm not gonna lie. Rendon has been a garbage. I mean, the Angels have a history of some bad. They had that little stretch there, right, in the 2000s there, where they had some good signings, Brian, but they haven't hit for. They have a big history of not hitting all the way back to Big Mo Vaughn on the Angels days. Yeah. Big Mo hasn't got it there. Ryan, I actually have a video of me roasting Freeze on my YouTube. Okay, I'll stop cutting you off. Ryan, never, you can cut us off anytime, any place, anywhere. This is Fatboy FadeAway. You talk it.
I was going to say something, but Ryan kept interrupting me.
God, what a jerk!
Sorry.
The Padres. Will Ryan Weathers ever develop into a superstar pitcher for them? I don't think so. They've been. Snell's been awesome for him. Now that they let him go more than 5 innings, he's been really good for him in that one. So,
but
he's been
the
good.
Padres thing is like you paid all these guys, and then like, what do you do now? Like, if you sell all these guys, how do you even get better? There's no way to get better. Yeah, Blake Snell, who's firing on all cylinders. Juan Soto, who's having a really good year. Yeah. Manny Machado is starting to heat back up. I mean, like, what do? You can't, like, how do you look at 2024 and think, okay, like, oh, we can get better than Blake Snell? Yeah, you can, but it's going to cost you what, $400 million, and you're already paying Tatis, Machado, some Darvish, and some of these other guys. Like, I don't know where. I like the Cardinals thing. It's easy for me to see what you can do, but for like the Blue Jays and the Padres, I don't know how you fix this.
Yeah,
for a fun little fake trade for a big thing would be like the Padres maybe like trading like one of their big hitters or something like that, and then in the return, like, they get, like, I don't know, like maybe a big pitcher, like, I'm trying to think who maybe would be for sale from like a team, like maybe a Scherzer or something like that. They make, something like blockbuster where it's already established contract, something that doesn't happen very often in baseball, but that'd be something that'd be interesting to see what happens with the Padres. Bob Melvin does have a history, Brian, of getting teams back there, so we'll see what happens with there. All right, let's keep it moving. Here we go. We're down to our bonanza here. Just got a few little fun questions here, and then our winners and losers of the week here. All right, real quick, Logan, who's a player you wish had won a World Series that did not? And maybe it's not on your favorite team. Who's somebody you root for that you wish had won a World Series? Because watching that Rangers game, it's kind of like, oh, I mean,
Beltray,
they wanted. There's a
that's
few
one of
guys
them.
on that team that you're like, I wish they would have got it because they were so close.
I think the clear one is Ted Williams.
Teddy Bowl game. Well,
Yeah.
you were alive for that. That was a big one, right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying okay. Then King Griffey Jr.
There you go.
Sorry, I didn't know that you had a
Ted
like in my
Williams.
lifetime. I'm sorry.
He had a big home run though in the All-Star game one time. He walked it off. That's a good call there. No, I got you. That's fair. Ted, I was thinking a little bit more President Griffey. I had him on the list as well. Something that I kind of wanted to win one as well. I was like I said, Ron Washington after that World Series. I definitely wanted him to win it. Brian, you had one on that you had?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with Barry Bonds on this because he was such a great player, and he never could come up like with the right thing in the playoffs. Even with the Pirates, he was just unclutch with that team.
The rally monkey. Got him.
You think he cared about that as much though?
Oh yeah.
Okay. To me, I never thought he cared about winning a World Series. I always thought he was like just not worried. Like I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think he was just like, I'd rather be like the best player of all time than do that.
I think you wanted to. I think you wanted to win. I mean, if not, how do you? I mean, I don't think personal stats can drive you just to that number. I mean, that's how I think about it. That's a good call, Brian. With him, I had Tony Gwynn. I had him. I wanted him to get a World Series. I wanted him to beat the Yankees so bad in that World Series that one year that they lost to Brother Bruce out there. Frank Thomas, I kind of was pulling for to get a ring as well. Those are a couple guys I had on the list getting it. Jose Reyes, I kind of had him. Jose Mesa, he blew that save against the Marlins. I always felt bad. He could have got that one there. Joey Votto's the current player I'd like to see get one. That's not on my favorite team.
Those were always guys Darren took in fantasy baseball, Reyes and Votto every year, and that's why he was always at the top.
That's a good combination to have on your fantasy team. You get Reyes and Votto. All right, hey, couple things here for last one here, Brian. Which NFL player are we looking forward to watching here? Now, I want to take this to Cooper Kupp versus Trey Lance as well. Who is better in that regard as well? Cooper Kupp, the backup for the Cowboys, or Trey Lance, the backup for the Niners? Who would you rather have, Brian?
Trey Lance.
Not Cooper Kupp. He came in and was pretty well. He did well. Are you kidding me?
Man, I guess that's how bad things are getting for Trey Lance. You're comparing him to the backup from the Cowboys.
Logan, you got a quick thought on that? You got as our annual Cooper Kupp tune in once in a while.
I don't even know who Trey Lance is.
Oh man,
Brian, he's like you with the NBA. We did an NBA trivia with Brian last week, the Barkley one. That's what we got to do with you. This immaculate grid is taking over the world for me. Logan, you helped me out.
You love it.
It's a good little brain teaser. One I got today, that was kind of Tiger. Who played for the Tigers and the Cubs? That was a tough one for me, right away. Tigers and the Cubs. I couldn't think of one, Brian.
I looked at it today and I was like, okay, I gotta wake up and get some coffee first. But like, it's always funny to me. I always have to there's Edwin Jackson, Joaquin Benoit, Arthur Rhodes, who are you just know they played for like 15 different teams, so you can it's always a safe bet.
Oh, but you're right. That's the way to do it. Just pick. You're right. That's the smartest way.
And it's a rarity thing too. So it always made me laugh the other day. I did Alfredo Simone, and you were like, dude, I don't know how, but like MLB The Show, that's just something I remembered from because I updated the rosters manually.
Yeah,
and so
that's what we got today. You got Angels, Red Sox, Angels, Cubs, Angels, White Sox. I always like to get, if I can, the lowest percentage on one when you're guessing it as well. That's always kind of fun. Like, who's going to be, what was one I had fun? Oh, my guy here. I got to say what's up to my guy, Terrell. Brian, he's at Realism Sports. Check it out. I'm going to be doing a show with him next Wednesday with my guy. But he's a guy from Brian from Missouri. He did his own SB show, and he wore a freaking tie with a shirt with a tie. I loved it for that. It was great. His LeBron takes were on fire as well. Terrell, I love you out there, man. Looking forward to Wednesday doing the show with you. We got to do that variety sports thing, like you were mentioning, some sort of get together, fantasy football day or something like that. All right. So last thing, these are just awesome though, Logan. Though I appreciate you said to me these. They're like great little brain teasers. Some of them I'm like, how the hell did I get that wrong? How did Bob Gibson not win 300 games for the Cardinals? Like I thought I thought
there's only 4 of them.
I thought that was a shoo-in for it.
Yeah.
Brian, you got
I know there was one you showed me. I saw a picture of Terry Pendleton, and it kind of took me back.
Yeah, Terry Pendleton. I forgot he had played. The one I was most proud of was it was who had played for the Astros and the Dodgers. And I want, like I said, try to get the lowest percent. I got Jose Lima at 0.4%. So I was happy. That one I was happy about right there. Jose Lima was on it. So that's the immaculate grid today. Tigers and Cubs. My brain's already thinking there. Who's on the Tigers and Cubs? Octavio Dotel. That's my guess. Everywhere.
Yeah, he's another one.
Octavio Dotel. He's everywhere with anything. Those would be the guys. All right. Last segment on the show here. Let's get to our winners and losers of the week. Let me get out of the stop sharing screen there. Beautiful. Winners, losers of the week. Brian, let's give you the honor. Where are we starting? Winners or losers?
I'm going to go winners. I'm going to go Debo this week, hanging up on a reporter. You kept talking about the NFC Championship game, and I think he had enough of that. So I don't blame Debo. He wants to move on.
Ryan, I feel like you are ready to go. I feel like Debo is your inner spirit fan animal. Would you like? That's why I feel like he's your favorite player.
I feel like he's the 49ers, like Diva or OBJ, and I like every minute of it.
I love it. That's a good winner of the week. Logan, you got a winner of the week?
I have the St. Louis Cardinals. They finally admitted that they were going to sell half the team at the deadline. So
look into your eyes.
Praise be to Jesus. I swear.
He looked into your eyes a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh. He saw that. We have a twin telepathy now.
He saw Logan Stone's eyes and said, "We're selling, baby. We are selling." I got you. We're selling on that one. All right, we got Sarich, my little Warrior shirt out. We finally got a guy over 6'9", Brian. We got a guy over 6'9" on the roster. Nice job. We got him. We got him there with it. Sabrina UNESCO, 25 of 26 in a three-point shooting contest. I never bring up WNBA here, as you know, but you make 25 out of 26 from the three-point line. You get a winner of the week. That is absolutely insane, 25 out of 26. Absolutely crazy. So that's one as well. This is a good one. I had it. He stole it. Me and him, we read each other. The National League, Logan, 9 years. They finally won one. Unbelievable. They pulled it out, and they should have. Maybe not the most exciting all-star game in the world. Mr. Diaz there gets the home run to give him the lead. So that's a good shout out there as well. My other winner of the week, I got Curry gets the hole-in-one yesterday, Brian. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. That was going to be my NBA headline if we were going to do the headline thing.
We'll have to do the headline thing next week with it. Brian, also Barry Bonds saying for the first time he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's a winner of the week. I appreciate him saying that. Of course, I got to shout out my wife again. Her birthday yesterday was a good time. Now, happy 38th birthday to my wife. We've been together now 13 years, so pretty crazy there. Happy birthday, Hannah. Brian, take us to losers of the week.
I'm going to have to go with the A's management again. I mean, it's time to sell the ball club and give it to some, ownership over in Vegas and let them turn the team into a winner. I'm tired of them. They just wasted our franchise.
It's an absolute joke. And like we said, they need to be a loser of the week every week on this show until they see him. So thank you for keeping the tradition going. Thank you, Terrell. I'll give her a pass on the shout out there. Well, she'll watch the show, I hope. Maybe to fall asleep. I tell her she falls asleep to the show. That's the point of it. Logan, who you got for loser of the week?
Real quickly, I have a winner. Josh and Emily Edwards celebrating their anniversary yesterday also. So you guys are entwined.
There we go. I did not know
that.
But
losers, the Angels, they are listening to Shohei Ohtani trade talks. And the other losers are anyone who is stupid enough to trade half their farm system for him for 2 months. Just save your money and go get him in the offseason. Go do that.
I like that. I think it's a good call there. We got to don't break Darren's heart there with the A's comment, Brian. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Vandy, Chris, make sure that there are no needles near Bonds bust in the Hall of Fame. Wow, that's a cheap shot. My loser is Bonds thinking a cheater should be in the Hall of Fame. Vandy, Chris, I'll push back to you, and we can have a separate show on this. Why is Bud Selig, the commissioner of this thing, in the Hall of Fame? It makes absolutely no sense. Yvonne Rodriguez is in. They're playing. It does not make sense. He was a Hall of Famer before that issue. I have to disagree with you on that one. I think Bonds does need to be in the Hall of Fame. I know
Oh,
that part doesn't bother me. That you could just put the story in. It's a museum. It's like you could just put it on the bus. Like this guy, we think he took steroids for fight, but it wasn't against the rules, like he said too. Like just put that on there. Like it's a museum. Like they have his bats in the Hall of Fame. They have his gloves in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know. That part to me was always a little silly, but I hear you. It's for some people, they feel a little different about it. So and I can respect that as well. Say that.
I said Barry Bonds deserves it. Mark McGwire doesn't deserve it, but yeah.
How about Sosa?
Gosh, no. I hate
But
it.
you got to put them all in, right?
No, I don't. I think it like even though
but
Sosa,
don't
I
you
think
feel like
Sosa
Clemens should
sucks.
be in? Clemens should be in.
Clemens, yeah, I believe deserved it.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear it. I'd say that for sure. That's a great call there. I just think Bonds gets it. I gotta go. Jimmy Butler, winner of the week. John, I had that with it. He's dating Shakira. That's a big time winner. Who needs Damian Lillard?
Man, you're starting to get on who the celebrities are dating now too. Because we were talking about Josh Allen, how
Jimmy Butler going to have
dating Hayden Steinfeld, and I also want to say one more thing. I want to say Josh Allen, welcome to Orange County. He bought a $7 million mansion in Dana Point. So if I ever see you, I'm going to say just keep being the Patriots' daddy.
Got Terrell Jose Canseco. He needs to be a lot. He's a little short of the Hall. Yes, he would be a curious case to get in the Hall of Fame on that one.
The minute that the ball hit his head and went out, that was just.
McGuire's an interesting one in the Hall of Fame. He's kind of he was in the.
I don't think he deserves it. And
yeah, his average was pretty mediocre. But I mean, he did have a couple years where it was good. With it, that's big time storylines. I like that. That would be a good one. Troy, Jose, can we get him in the Hall of Fame? We need to get Jose. I got to get Jose on the pod. He follows me on Twitter randomly. Like a couple of years ago, he followed me. I should DM him. I think he followed me because he does the car wash thing. He just tries to get people to follow, go to his car wash in Vegas or whatever, Brian. But that's what it is. So. Who did you got your loser of the week, Brian? You got yours as well, correct? You did yours. So I got mine here. I got Chris Paul calling out the reporter saying he might not want to start. That's why we traded for you. You're just coming off the bench. We're not going to lineup with Curry, you, and Thompson. No. You're not coming off. You're not starting. You're coming off the bench. So that's loser of the week material there. Robert's getting hurt in the home run derby for the White Sox. That's definitely loser of the week material. You can't get hurt in there. Terrell, if you're on, I think you'll be a big fan of this one. You mentioned it on your podcast as well. LeBron James going on the ESPYs to say he was not going to retire. That is loser of the week material in a big way. You do not. I am not retiring. Well, no crap. We all know that. Even if you did, thank you for telling us that on ESPYs. Yeah, it's like. Where's Tim Duncan? He's rolling over in his grave with his retirement.
Trust me, LeBron would have to spend like 2 years hyping up his retirement and make it all emotional and crap. Just be like, oh, don't forget, I'm the center of attention. I hate him.
We know you want to play with your son, right? We know that was the case. So it's like, why are you acting like you're going to retire this year? Is this going to be a Brett Favre thing, 5 years? Like he's going to be like Brett Favre. We're going to be following him in like SUVs down to LA. They're going to have like the helicopters on him, following him down there from. Well, Bronny James and the Broads are coming. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh, there they are. They're on their way to Phoenix. They're off the airport.
He's the reason I despise the Lakers now.
I think a lot of Lakers fans are like you. Terrell's one of them too. It's like he is the main reason they don't like. It's kind of like me at the Warriors and them getting Chris Paul. I'm like, I have to root for this guy now. Like, there's some of that factor with it where you're like, I got to root for that guy. So. Loser of the week, Rodman saying that baby Bron would destroy the great white hope and Larry Bird. Larry Bird. Yeah, Larry Bird's I'm not going to deny Larry Bird on anything. Larry Bird's a bad boy. If you ever watched some of his old games, 1984 rewatch Lakers Celtics. That's one of the best ones out there. And so Donaldson getting hurt. But LeBron, you topped it for me, man. Not much better than loser of the week than that, going down there and doing that. Logan. How are you doing with this? Are you back for a little bit? You just kind of hit and miss a little bit some of these things. How's things going with you in the podcast game?
I've kind of taken a step back. I don't like. I think I'm done with sports. I've just kind of I don't know. Like maybe it's just because the Cardinals have been complete dog crap this year. It's just I I just been burned out. So like I've been taking a break. I've been working on stuff. But yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us though today. Appreciate you coming on to watch it. Doing the little rewatch with us over Cardinals Rangers. Appreciate everybody that was able to tune in with it. Thanks for doing it, man. It was fun getting your perspective on it. Somebody that was a fan of the team, and like that game obviously means quite a lot because it's the last time you guys won a World Series.
It used to, and then Cardinals fans decided that it was the rule and not the exception. So every time the Cardinals start losing a bunch of games, they're like, "Don't forget 2011." The Cardinals haven't won a legitimate World Series since 1982.
I feel like you're a Rangers fan now, Brian. He's talking like a Rangers fan to me.
I honestly, I hate the Cardinals fans more than anything else in this world. They're the worst fans in baseball. I don't care what Cardinals fans say. They're the worst fans in baseball. They're annoying. They're high and mighty. I never understood why other teams' fan bases hated us so much. They suck. They're the worst team. They're the worst fan base ever. They want to act like they're like the better. They have to be the pinnacle of fandom, and they aren't. They think they're the most important part, and they're not. And then they support the team even though they suck. And it's just like, anyways, I'm sorry. I went on a rant there. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
Well-deserved rant. That's well-deserved there with it. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking your time this morning to do it. I know you kind of stayed a little longer than you had there, so I appreciate you doing that with it. Winner of the week was Tyler Berger. Yet Tyler finally got on your show as well. That was good. They did a good job Wednesday. Tyler has been out of the podcast game as well. He's getting married in November, so in about 5 years he'll be available to do some podcasts. He said around that time there. No, just kidding. Shameless self-promo. Yes, very shameless on that one.
Tyler went on another podcast and he didn't come to see me. Oh my gosh, Tyler! You know what?
Tyler came on. I watch it. Ty, I'm going to be on with Terrell next Wednesday, so that was good with it. Logan, though, I appreciate you coming on with it and doing the podcast. It's been obviously me and you joked about it, not coming on. So it was good to actually got to have you on and get your takes on and stuff, talking some baseball, which I love doing with you. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat. We had a really good chat today going on. We had Tyler in there tuning in, Terrell, our guy Ryan over there, guys from Out of Your Falcon Mind. They're doing good stuff over there at Variety Sports Network. They're working on close to 700 subs over there. Be sure to follow them, Vandy, Chris. They do a great show over there. I love theirs, talk about the SEC baseball. So my guy Terrell, obviously I mentioned too. So I'll be on with him next Wednesday. So with that said, Logan Stone, Brian Johnson, I'm Darren Breyer. Till next week. Peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety